Hey, second graders. So, we're really getting towards the end of our story with our robot. We had a pretty long reading last time, so I'm really going to try to break this week's reading into two sections. We left off, and Bright Bill was telling Roz all about the robots that he saw and the factory, and then he was telling her how special she is. So, Chapter 65, The Invitation. Roz was the first to arrive at the next dawn truce. She had an important announcement to make. The robot patiently waited in the great meadow as the sky slowly brightened and the animals slowly gathered. And once everyone was milling around and chatting, Roz began speaking in her perkiest voice. Pardon my interruption. If I could please have a moment of your time. The crowd settled down and listened to their robot friend. We made it through a terrible winter. A new generation of youngsters is arriving, and my son, Bright Bill, has just returned to the island with his flock. I think we can all agree that there is much to celebrate. So in addition to the dawn truce this morning, I would like us to have another truce this evening. Can we call it the evening truce? Or better yet, the party truce? The crowd began chattering with excitement. I have planned a celebration, Roz continued, and you are all invited. I will take care of everything. Just please meet me back here at dusk. Oh, and I have a little surprise. Actually, it is not little. It is quite large. The point is, I have planned a celebration, and I hope to see you all there. Sounds great, Roz, but I'm afraid there's one problem with your plan. Mr. Beaver blinked his beady eyes. The moon won't be out this evening, so it'll be too dark for some of us to see. You are half correct, said Roz. Tonight will be moonless, but it will not be dark, I promise. Now, if you will excuse me, I must prepare for our party. I will see everyone back here at dusk. Goodbye. Chapter 66, The Celebration. Dawn turned to day turned to dusk, and just as Roz had asked, animals were gathering again in the great meadow. Word had spread across the island that the robot was throwing a party, and everyone wanted to see what the fuss was about. The fuss seemed to be about a giant stack of wood. Roz spent the day collecting logs and branches and stacking them in a perfect, massive tower. The animals crowded around it, trying to imagine its purpose. And then they saw a golden light flickering in the distance. Roz emerged from the dark forest, and in her hand was a flaming stick, which she held up like a torch. She was camouflaged in thick mud and clusters of wildflowers. But her camouflage wasn't for hiding. It was a party dress. The animals watched the robot glide across the meadow, surrounded by a warm glow. Thank you all for being here, she said as she joined the crowd. 1 year ago, I woke up on the shore of this island. I was just a machine. I functioned. But you, my friends, my family, you have taught me how to live, and so I thank you. No, thank you, Roz, shouted a voice. You have also taught me how to be wild, said the robot, and so let us celebrate life and wildness together. And at those words, Roz heaved her torch high into the air. It soared up and up and up and landed on the top of the wooden tower. A ball of fire burst towards the night sky, and suddenly the meadow was bathed in firelight. Hundreds of shining eyes watched as the bright flames crept down the sides of the tower and embers floated away on the breeze. Roz stepped towards the bonfire, eager to feel its warmth, and then stepped back, afraid of feeling too much. Soon everyone was moving. The deer started leaping, the foxes started trotting, the snakes slithering, the insects buzzed, and the fish jumped out of the river. Bright Bill led the birds into the air, where they wheeled around the bonfire like a tornado of feathers. Roz sprang into a wild dance, her shaggy dress shaking and swooshing with each movement. It was a pretty wild party. It took a robot to make it happen. The animals and Roz partied all night long. They were so busy singing and laughing and dancing that they didn't see a cargo ship as it sliced past the island. But the ship saw them. It saw the towering bonfire, and it saw the robot, and then it quietly continued through the darkness. And if you look closely at the picture, you can see Roz doing her wild dance. All right, so something's going to happen. It saw the robot, and then it quietly continued through the darkness. Chapter 67, The Sunrise. Munch has stolen something from me. Hold on 1 second. He is such a troublemaker. Look at him. Munchie, why are you trying to steal my makeup brush? Get out of here. Oh my gosh, I'm going to put it in the cabinet so he can't get it. All right, back to reading. Chapter 67, The Sunrise. By dawn, the bonfire had dwindled to a smoldering hill of ash. Everyone else had gone home, and only Roz and Brightbill remained in the meadow. They laid on the grass together, watching as the soft light and morning crept up from the horizon. And then, Roz said, "Let us go for a walk." The robot and the goose hiked and flew up to their favorite spot on the grassy ridge. But then they kept going. They followed the ridge to the mountain and climbed all the way up to the craggy creek, just in time to see the sunrise. "I climbed up here once before," said Roz, as the sun's first rays warmed her body. "I sat on this very rock, and I looked at the island, and I thought I would always be alone. But I was wrong." "Are you happy, Mama?" The robot thought for a moment. "I am. I'm happy too." Brightbill closed his eyes and felt the wind and sun. There was a slight chill in the air that made him feel alive. Everything seemed just right. And then he heard a distant buzzing sound. The goose squinted to the south and saw a familiar shape in the sky. He turned to his mother and said, "Mom, there's an airship flying this way." All right, well, I'm going to stop there. It's a little sooner than 10 minutes, but this is a good spot to pause and think about what might happen. So the ship saw Roz, and now there's an airship floating towards the island.